Okay, all right, boys, we're back. Welcome back, DJ Live. I just have this small idea that I want to take up and go with it. Mse mimi nikipatanga ideas siketingi na nitajaribu. It's currently Friday 9 p.m. It's some unorthodox times for me to record. Usually I depend on the sunlight to get extra light, but as soon as I had this idea, I went ahead with it. So hopefully you can stick around. I'll make sure this is a very short video. I'll be discussing or I'll be previewing game week 13 just to give you small updates. Kama ni injuries, kama ni watu, just essentially what I'm bringing to you is my summary from the press conferences by the managers so that you can make your decisions FPL wise before the deadline, or pia if it's after the deadline, you at least know why your player didn't play ama why he won't perform, ujuange mapema. So first off, just want to address Nottingham against Brighton. It's a game in which Mitoma has been ruled out by Dizabi. Amesema Manzeu boys atakuwa out, hatakuwa available for this game. So Mitoma is the third most owned midfielder, which makes it a very huge decision for many managers who will be looking to make a sale. Na ndio maana tutakangi ku make changes mapema. Coaches uko na story mob na pia tutaki kungoja sana. So if you had already made a transfer, that means maybe you just need to rotate him in your squad unless you're looking to spend a -4. So he ruled out Mitoma and Milner for this game against Nottingham. Remember that Nottingham are playing at home. Na si wako home wako poa, of which I can also comment to it. Awoni has been ruled out for months with an injury. He had a surgery very recently, which begs the question, his substitute striker ni Chris Wood. I also came to discover that Chris Wood used to be Newcastle. Manze, as transfer market ni ngori. So Chris Wood is really good. Whenever he starts games, he gets goals, hata akikujanga za sub. So this could be a good game for Nottingham. Elanga is also back to training. I'm not sure if many of you have him. I think he has like a 0.6% ownership, so I don't think you care about that. But he's back to training. And Umse Mani tulikuwa tunampuuza. He needed playtime, and I think Nottingham was the right place for him to go. At least manze upper exercise. And if Elanga plays, he's very electric and he's probable to get on the assists. And if not, most likely Gibbs White could be played as a false 9. I don't know. Tutaona. Next up is Haaland. So history Haaland inaweza feel tricky because he could play one half. It's probable. It's not certain likely. It's probable that he could play for one half because he has issues with his ankles. Manager alisema bado anaangalia into it, but he's training. But alisema akona small issues on his ankle even during training. So probably Alvarez could be played up front, if not for the full game, maybe for a portion of the game. Again, Man City have a depth of squad. Na Pep achezi FPL, so yeye ajali ka assist. Pep anataka ku make sure mse atakuwa available kama ni midweek for Champe and other competitions. So Haaland looks like a tricky captain. Honestly, he looks like a tricky captain. Remember this game that Haaland played for 45 minutes and he was very much captained. Alipea watu 1x2. So that's something I'd like you to just look at. Again, most likely is going to start. Sasa issue yangu tu nashangaa ni kama atamalizia game na kama atacheza full minutes. And then on the third slide we have Guimaraes. This is a very tough fixture for Newcastle against Chelsea, but Newcastle, again, as I always say, whenever they are playing at St James Park, asa wako fiti sana. So you might be wondering how is Guimaraes impacting the game. Mse, depth in midfield, someone who can hold the ball and a great play, atulize press, kazi ya Declan Rice, kazi ya Rodri. So these guys are without so many players, I guess. Let me just see. Acha tuone na hapa. First of all, ukumbuke hawana Isaac, hawana Wilson. Almiron is flagged. They don't have Longstaff, they don't have Danban, they don't have Botman. So that's why Guimaraes being available, at least it would give room to Joe Linton. And I don't know, it's a very tricky fixture, but his availability just gives Newcastle a better edge to have the ball, to possess the ball, and to control the pace. Nonahitaji him say experienced. Only Brazilian, if I'm not wrong. So much experience in this. So it's also a tricky fixture. Could be one of those 1-0 wins for either sides. I don't know if Chelsea can take away a win there, but one thing that I saw about Chelsea is that Nkunku is also close to coming back. Ananza kupona. Let's see how things go. And then Moyes alisema Bowen will be available. Yes, ni kama anacheza. He has a knee problem. It's a knee problem, I think. And that he's not fully fit, but he'll make the decision on match day, which is tomorrow Saturday. Hiyo ndio siku ata make decision. West Ham are playing tomorrow. Yes, Aston Villa ndio Sunday. So I don't know if you're like me and you have Bowen, inamaanisha just eka Bowen kwa squad na upange substitutes zako. Prioritize the first substitute just in case Bowen doesn't play. The manager also confirmed that Mikel Antonio isn't available for another 2-3 weeks. I remember Antonio used to be a really good FPL asset in the 2020-2021 season. So I think his time is also come. Most likely maybe the second half of Premier League. Same as Martinelli, probably the second half of Premier League. I don't know if you have Martinelli, but I was also thinking about him, but shida ni nangoja upate form yako kwanza before nikununue na ni make any plans. So this is the update on Bowen. He'll still stay flagged, but I recommended on my previous video, which is the Game Week 13 team selection, ilisema mse kuna watu wengine hata wakiflagiwa kwa staff usiamini. Usifuate hiyo staff. Watu wengine wakiwekwa kwa staff usiamini. Mtu kama Saka akiwekwa hiyo flag wewe mchezeshe first 11. Wanachezanga bado. Mimi sijaisikianga Bowen na kwa injury. Hata hii ni ya kwanza I think. For me personally, from my POV. And next up is that Odegaard is back to training. Ukisikianga Odegaard is back to training, most likely ataingia second half ama atasabiwa into the game if the tempo is low. One other thing, I have Raya in my squad, but I can't play him. And the reason why he can't play is because from the loan agreement from Brentford it stipulates that Raya cannot play against his parent club. Okay, so Ramsdale niko sure kina nice hajapata starting position since I think game week 7-8. It will be good for him to start another Premier League game after a long period of time, which means that also if you have Nketiah, what do you do? Because Pia Jesus is kind of coming back. Jesus is not flagged officially. If you look on FPL, he's not flagged, meaning most likely is going to play. Na kama chezi inamaanisha if you have Nketiah, it's really tricky to play him first 11 because again there is Trossard. Yes, he can also be played as a CAM, but again sasa manager anapeana mixed feelings. We just need, as I said, the game week 13 feels a bit tricky because we need to see how players are playing after the international break. Hapa ndio tunahitaji kujua form iko wapi. If you have Brian Mbeumo, it's also a tricky situation. Unashanga kama against Arsenal, even if it's at home, their own stadium, if he'll prevail. If you are thinking about Brian Mbeumo, I know he has Luton away next game week, which looks like a really good, it's at home. He has 2 consecutive home games. Home at Luton itakuwa at least easier. Luton away ndio imekwanga hard, imeprove hard for most clubs so far. So let's just see how things goes. Which means that bro, if you have Saka, hata usijaribu kumshika, wacha acheze hiyo position. Saka amekuwa involved in easy derby matches whereby he gets on the score sheet or he assists on most of them according to reports. And the last slide says The last slide talks about Everton against Man U, which is a very tough fixture since Man U wanaenda away. Any a tough fixture. Kama unajua Man U standards, it's a very very hard game. It's a very hard game. Now look, once again the Everton were deducted 10 points because wali breach financial regulation rules. It's a very long story. I actually downloaded the case. Nakisho tuko deep kwa stuff. Nilidownload the document yenye ilikuwa inafuatiliwa in the court. It's also available from the FPL website. Ni story mingi, but just long story short, but they breached the profitability and sustainability rules. Hata mimi sikuelewa completely, but it just states that a club within the 3 years, maybe kama ni this year, kama ni 2022-23, they have to submit their maths, the expenditure na nini, their income from the previous year, the current year and the following year. Now if they have a loss of up to from 15 million up to 115 million mnahandwa, up to 105 million, yes, I think it's 105 million, equal between 15 million and 105 million, of which in this case I think they went up to 125 million, something like that. It's a huge story. If you want to follow along, just go onto the FPL website, wanaongea kuhusu hii story a bit more. So how does this connect back? It's that Everton watakuwa a little bit demoralized because again stuff wanapanishiwa ni crimes za 2020-2021 season. It's the same season that they sold Richarlison to Tottenham, sindio? Yeah, it's the same year that they sold Richarlison. So pia math yao iko ina math. They were supposed to get around 80 million for Richarlison, but they had to settle for 60M. Ndio records zao zikuwe straight. Anyway, it's a very hard fixture for Man U, but the good thing is that Luke Shaw is back. We are not sure if he'll get starting lineup since Reguilon also played really well on our previous game. We are still looking at that. Højlund is not assured until match day, which means Anthony Martial might get a starting place in this game. Maybe, we don't know. Wacha tuone tu venye kataenda. So those are just a small few updates that I wanted to pass along about this Game Week 13 press conference from the managers. And say, panga team yako venye unacheki. Until then, see you on the next video. Probably will be reacting to Game Week 13, or if not that, I'll see you on my team selection for Game Week 14. Depending on how the week, the day, the weekend goes. See you guys on the next video. Kwani ni kesho.
BTL drop, Radika Ruka. I gave her Kichoika Ruka. She gave me inside the Uber. Liambaga was sitting at date nikamruka. Put on my dip when I was a peruka. Kama tumnyambo, I be with my shooter. She is a soldier, she is a trooper. The way that she stay with my stick, then I knew. BTL drop.